All right. Greetings, all. Here we are, Tuesday, October 5th. All right, so this is our mixed stand-up tactical. Quentin is the first in my boxes. What you got going?
All right, so I'm taking a chance for a little bit of a breather with our Tyler stuff. So this week, I've been working on making our GitHub feedback form a little bit better encapsulated, so it's a little bit more reliable and useful and easier to integrate with more forms, and starting to do a little bit of brainstorming about our upcoming project and the image recognition pieces that we'll need, because I think it just helped to have done some advanced research and thinking. So that's mostly it. Also doing some little cleanup stuff with the Weaver and the assembly line package.
Cool. All very cool. Michelle.
Oh, we had deep dive yesterday. Bryce can probably remember more clearly. Took on a couple of issues there. We discussed mostly in bugs and stuff like that. So for the Weaver, we looked at the Weaver issues and handed out a few. So that's good. I think that's most of what I've gotten done this week. The PDF stuff that we're looking at for the testing, one, it's in JavaScript, and two, I don't think it's going to help us with finding PDF fields. So I mean, I can do some research anyway into PDFs and stuff like that, but I don't think it's what we're looking for the Weaver. Yeah, that's all I got.
All right.
Very short.
Yeah, we're gonna be very short.
It's gonna be
here.
a record. Break our record.
Yeah, I have a mix of what Quentin and Michelle mentioned. We did stand up yesterday, went over the bugs, and going on Tyler's stuff. Trying to get the court date, like the hearing reservation, as opposed to the return date, which are different things. I don't understand the nuances yet, but they're just different operations. And so one is we're waiting for Tyler to reply for any sort of help on that. They've given us one answer that was like, oh, you need to have a motion type, which was more confusing because motion types aren't required, and like our Martian are like, can you only get a return date with motion types? And so I asked for some more clarification, and I've had radio silence. And so I'm trying to just sort of bring everything else up to the point where at least I can ask some questions. And I think I'm at that point for the hearing date, where I'm also sort of in the similar position of unknown air, which really tells me a lot and is very useful and fun for debugging. But yeah,
sincerity and sarcasm level in that comment was very impressive.
Is there a null type of motion type, or like,
well, there is
default value or something?
So there is in XML, you can both just not include an element. You can also have an element be null. You can also have an empty element with like nothing inside of it. And I think that might be all. But essentially, there are many different ways of expressing the same null position, and I've tried most of them. And it's not necessarily like what it specifically is. Like there's nothing in the like API that tells us this. It's a lot of like whatever Tyler has business rules for. Like they did mention like in the comment, they were like, like it should be actually giving you that, or it shouldn't like allow you to not pass a motion type. But he said maybe that's more of a business rule than anything. So just try passing a motion type. So like this is the level of documentation that we deal with. But it's going. I think I just need to ping them and open a few more questions. But yeah,
I had a thought, Bryce, and it's not the most efficient, but maybe if we get like really low quality responses from Tyler, can you just set up something like Fiddler and capture what Tyler's doing on their EFM when someone submits the same request to get a return date? It's like just a man in the middle proxy that lets you capture unencrypted payloads on your own server. It's probably a better thing for Linux. That Fiddler is like a Windows thing, but just the idea of doing a packet.
So I don't know if just the how SOAP in general is architected, if that's work. Like it would be the same issue of like if we were trying to like capture what we were doing, because essentially SOAP is not really client server. It's more of just servers talking to each other. And so I don't think any of the existing like EFMs out there are like you, the client, are sending especially anything through a web browser. And I don't know of any other like EFSPs that are like download this software that would essentially be the SOAP like application that you're running. And so all of that would be hidden behind some other server it's a good idea, but I don't think that's something we can really do.
Oh, that's too bad. Okay. But you got it working in like a really specific circumstance where there actually is a motion type, basically. That one works. Is that right? Where there really should be a motion type, rather.
I think I got to that. I don't remember. I've been jumping around a bit. I'll have to double check. I've been jumping around a bit trying to just like do all these things, so I'll have to double check. But I think I got to the point where at least I could send one. I don't remember if it was going through it though.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry. Yeah, I guess that's not as helpful as I was thinking it was. It just occurred to me earlier.
It may be the situation where it works when it's supposed to work, and this is just a bad failure state.
I feel like that would be the case of just like it should be working. It's just there's some like bad or like missing documentation in terms of what I need to pass in.
Yeah. Which might mean that when in an actual implementation, when you submit a motion and do this, you're just not going to run into this scenario because you would naturally only use the proper types. So that being said, it's the type of thing that if we don't get much of an answer from Tyler, it's the type of thing that we know about it, and then we can put through for certification, and we can see if it raises flags.
There are specific certification tests for it, so I think it is also one of those things that's like only used in Cook, and like not even all of Cook County. It's like a handful of the Cook County stuff. Like most of the other courts in Illinois are not that, or like don't even have these options enabled. So yeah.
Well, so that might actually be telling us something, right? Because it's probably the interplay of like the types, and so that's useful. Not sure what we do with that information, but
yeah.
But I suppose one thing we could do is we just know these things aren't turned on in other counties, so it doesn't even make sense to test in other counties. So we just know it's a Cook. That does help though to know that it's a Cook specific issue.
I don't know outside of Illinois, like what other jurisdictions have these things turned on, but at least for Illinois itself.
Cool.
Either way, I guess the main gist of all of that update was like things are progressing a bit more. Just always a bit of a slog.
But there's a light at the end of the tunnel.
Yes.
And we don't think it's a train.
True. It's there. We're like this close. So
cool. Caroline.
Hi, I'm just making an appearance. And just to let you know, I think I just saw Sarah posted that we did have a really good meeting the other day.
Oh,
and she is so great to work with.
That's good to hear.
She really is. Yeah. So that's all. Is there anything that I should be sort of apart from the translations that I should be trying to think about or I should know about?
Oh, well, I didn't tell you this, Caroline, but there's 2 students who are probably going to work on the 258E, getting at least the complaint and the affidavit.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
they're doing it in my class, so they'll have limited time.
Okay.
But already one question came up, which was about like finding the right court to file in. And I don't think I'm going to reach out to Kate. I wonder if you have
No.
any thoughts on an SME for any of that stuff.
She gave us the name of somebody,
Oh, okay.
and I will try and track it down because it may be in a chat. But she did, and what I had this weird feeling it was somebody who was moving from NLA to GBLS. I can't remember, but I will, and we actually talked about, the other thing we talked about is it might be I have to think about it, but I know we've talked about it because it's actually not, Kate wouldn't even be the person who would be helping with the 250-AD. It's more like a victims rights. I think is there victims rights advocates? There are people who really want this, and I think they might be the MOVA people I'll track it down and just keep reminding me because I have a name and I just can't remember who it is. But yeah, that's I will try and I'm gonna add that to my notes and see.
I'll try to keep it in mind too and look around. I mean, they're early enough that I don't think we need an answer yet for that but specific question.
Sometimes, there's like a general question that helps you figure out what direction you're gonna want to be going. And then are they using the 250-AD stuff? We hardly have anything on mass legal help, but are they going to use that they ought to read that first so they have some kind of information about it. And I also, I put together a big spreadsheet about Massachusetts restraining orders a few years ago, like 15 years ago, when I was part of the Access to Justice, one of those, committees. And it compares restraining orders. And that table might be helpful to them to see what the difference between the 209A and the 250-AD is. It might highlight some specific things that they want to get in there.
Absolutely, yeah.
So I'll look for that. So let's see, SME for 258E.
A really good place to put some of those notes would just be on Trello if it's easy, if you find them.
Yeah, add to Trello, yeah.
Or on Teams is fine, and I can put it on Trello, whatever's easier.
Yeah, no, Trello sounds good to me. Yeah, I can do that. Yeah. Oh, and Quentin, what are their names? Just so I can.
So it's Julia and I think Maria.
Julia.
Yeah, we don't need to get more detailed on the recording.
Yeah, I won't get more detailed than that.
Yeah, that's fine. So, okay. All right, I'll try to track that down. I don't know if you need to know this, but new child support guidelines went into effect yesterday on the 4th. We don't have to do that for 209A, I don't think. I want to just double check when plaintiff asks for child support. I don't think we do any calculations, and we do okay, that's good. Yeah.
Oh, you meant the 209A, but yeah, definitely not for 250-AD. But
not the 250-AD. No.
I don't think we have any of the calculations.
No, I just had to think out loud about that. So I just wanted to pop in, say hi, tell you that I met with Sarah, figure out if there's anything else you need me to do. So I'll try and track down that 250-AD and add the table of comparing restraining orders and the link to the little teeny bit of information we have on Mass Legal Help about 250-ADs. And presumably, I think the MassGov, the court section, are doing a lot more plain language information, so they should definitely read that as well. And sometimes people just don't seem to read the context. They just go straight for the form. So
I'm trying to slow everyone down this year. I'm making everybody give me an outline that's due next week. So I'll be able to see if their research is on the right track. I hope. We'll see.
Yeah, outline and sources. Add to the sources. Where are you getting your information from?
Yeah. That's my hope.
So even if they don't read it, they have to find where it exists. That's a good idea. I think that's a good tool.
We'll see. First time I'm doing it. I'm also just thinking this is more detail than we need to get on this call, but just it's something else I can evaluate and grade them on so they know how they're doing before 2 weeks after the semester ends.
Surprise.
It's stressful for people to not know what their grade is until the end.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good idea. Okay,
All right. Well,
I'll be
cool.
quiet now.
For me, it's all been paperwork, finishing up stuff, grants, getting invoices in, tying up bureaucratic financing stuff. But and it looks like we're about to land more funding, and knock on wood, 2 different funders, which will help support the assembly line. Yeah, and then we're gonna, the working plan is that on Thursday, when Quentin, Bryce, and I are in the same physical space, that we might use a whiteboard and think about the future. So that's going to be exciting. That's all I've got. So I'll go ahead and, if there's nothing else, I'll go ahead and stop recording. We'll